beloved, chosen ones. That mesmerizing number 111 shining on the thumbnail drew you in and prompted you to click, didn't it? In the Christian faith, 111 represents divine synchronicity, spiritual awakening, and God's miraculous signs echoing themes of transition and heavenly alignment as seen in biblical patterns of renewal and the unfolding of His redemptive purpose. Your arrival here is far from coincidental. The Holy Spirit has purposefully summoned you to this message, confirming that you yourself are a walking testament to the power of miracles. Pause and reflect. What stirred you to watch this now? A quiet intuition, a longing for affirmation amid life's trials. This video serves as your sacred validation, illuminating how your journey defies the ordinary and showcases God's extraordinary interventions. Join our worldwide community of believers. Drop a comment with your city or country to link arms with like-minded souls and type 111 to proclaim your role in His wondrous story. If this awakens something deep within, like the video, to extend this miracle to others and subscribe for continual divine encouragement. Chosen ones, lean in. This is the revelation that celebrates your miraculous existence. Let's stop pretending your journey was easy. Let's stop minimizing what you survived. This isn't just another motivational message. This is holy ground, because the truth is, your life bears the marks of spiritual war. You've endured blows that don't just bruise the body, they crush the soul. Yet here you are, not broken, not lost, not finished, still breathing, still believing, still becoming. From the outside, people might see strength, but they don't see the story. They don't see the nights you cried in silence, asking God for just one sign that He hadn't left. They don't know how early your battles started. They weren't just circumstantial, they were generational, the kind that tried to wrap around your bloodline and never let go. You were born into war zones most couldn't recognize because your battlefield wasn't always visible. It was your mind, your identity, your soul. From youth, you faced attacks, not for weakness, but because darkness sensed your potential. The enemy targets those destined for greatness. You've known the sting of betrayal, the pain of abandonment. Those you loved most deeply often left the deepest scars. You would have sacrificed everything for them, and yet they broke parts of you that took years to mend. But here's the miracle: you rebuilt not with resentment or impenetrable walls, but with a heart kept open by grace alone. You trusted again cautiously but courageously. You rose each day not from strength, but from a soul that refused defeat. Modern heroes echo this, those praising God through chemotherapy, believing in His goodness despite losing children or refusing to let abusive pasts define them. These aren't headlines, but heaven's champions. You're among them. Your forgiveness, perseverance, and light in darkness are sacred. The world may not celebrate this strength, but heaven does. Every choice of mercy over vengeance, silence over curses, love over pain aligns you with Christ's heart. Romans chapter 12 verse 21 declares, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." The pressure was immense, the loss real. Depression knocked anxiety, suffocated trauma, tried to rewire you. Yet you stand proof that what meant to destroy you defined you. You've transformed, grown, discerning, loving deeply, though trusting carefully. Your slower steps walk in truth. Your silence thunders. Your presence shifts rooms not from ego, but from divine encounters in the wilderness. What you've carried wasn't light or fair, but it forged something eternal. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17 affirms, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." Your story isn't over. The full reveal awaits. What nearly ended you will lift you. The enemy's evil is being turned for good by God. Don't explain your faith or survival, just be. Your existence preaches your resilience, praises your healing, proves God's protection is real, sustaining through lonely paths, raising purpose from ashes. You weren't meant to break, but to be built for calling, impact, and glory. That's why you're still here. There were moments when the foundation of your life seemed to crumble, as if everything you held dear slipped away like sand. Loved ones left secure jobs, vanished. Cherished dreams collapsed under disappointment's weight. Plans unraveled, and the life you envisioned faded painfully. You lost, more than people, you lost pieces of your identity. Titles, relationships, roles, routines that defined you. Their absence left you questioning who you were. The pain felt like abandonment, even punishment, but it was neither. It was divine rescue cloaked in ruin. God wasn't tearing you down. He was clearing away distractions to reveal your true self designed before the world named you. Isaiah chapter 48 verse 10 proclaims, "See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. You were purified, not cast aside, opened up, not broken down. In your lowest moments, when silence deafened and no one reached out, you uncovered something sacred and invaluable. Even when everything seemed lost, you still had God, breath and purpose, a purpose that needed no spotlight or crowd, born in quiet resilience." Consider Elijah, exhausted and hiding in a cave, pleading for death after mighty victories. His restoration came not through miracles, but a whisper. 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 12 mentions, "And after the fire came a gentle whisper." God met him in stillness, not spectacle, just as he met you. What seemed like the end of your usefulness was the dawn of your calling. Stripped of external support, you touched the eternal, realizing purpose wasn't tied to lost positions or relationships, but to the quiet resolve to heal and rise. You stopped chasing approval and sought alignment, ceased fixing what God let fall, and listened to pain's lessons. That's transformation forged in hidden moments, on tear-soaked floors, in sleepless nights, in raw conversations with God when no one else understood. Psalm chapter 147 verse 3 confirms, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." That's your reality. God rebuilt you not to fit the world's mold, but to embody His design. You shifted from living through wounds to living from wisdom, from surviving to becoming. Purpose found you in the shadows when you were most vulnerable and open to God. Your heart grew resilient, your voice steady. You speak with clarity, walk with conviction, and carry peace born not of ease, but of knowing your identity. You move differently now, not because life simplified, but because you rooted yourself in truth. Every loss taught you, every closed door protected, every detour guided. What you've built is unshakable, rooted in who you are, not what you possess. You didn't just recover, you returned deeper, wiser, more aligned with your calling. You lost the temporary and found the eternal. Mark chapter 8 verse 36 asks, "What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul?" You reclaimed your soul, discovering a purpose that can't be stolen or shaken. Let others misunderstand your journey. They saw your losses, but not your gains in God's presence amid the ruins. You're defined not by what is left, but by what endures, faith, strength, purpose, untouchable by anyone. You didn't ask to be different. You didn't choose to stand alone. But from the very beginning, something about you wouldn't let you blend in. While others chased acceptance, you wrestled with awareness. You saw what others missed, felt what others buried, questioned what others were taught to swallow without hesitation. That depth made you a threat to comfort zones. They called you strange, too much, too intense. The outcast, the black sheep, not because you were wrong, but because you made others uncomfortable with your truth. You didn't fit their mold, and instead of adjusting their shape, they tried to shrink your spirit. You laughed differently, cried too easily, spoke when others stayed silent. While they coated life in shallow normalcy, you lived in the deep end and they didn't know how to swim. So they rejected you. Rejection is never easy, especially when it comes from places that were supposed to be safe. Family gatherings, where you felt invisible friend circles, where you were tolerated but never truly known, church pews that praised uniformity over authenticity. You tried to dim your light to silence yourself for acceptance. You softened your smile, nodded instead of speaking, held back to belong. But it didn't work because God's purpose in you couldn't be buried. Your light was meant to shine, your spirit to stand firm. You were marked to stand out, chosen not for perfection, but for perception. Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 6 to 7 records, "Alas, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But the Lord said to me, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you." God didn't need your popularity, only your willingness. Rejection carved depth in you. Seasons of being overlooked or dismissed were your classroom, your cocoon. While others pushed you out, heaven drew you in. You didn't grow bitter, you grew better, learning to lead yourself through valleys and shadows. Now, without seeking fame, you've become a haven for others. They're drawn to your presence, not your perfection, finding safety in your scars. Your insight, born in fire, earns their trust. Like Moses, exiled before leading, you were set apart to prepare. Exodus chapter 3 verses 1 to 2 notes, "Now, Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush." Your wilderness was preparation. You lead with empathy, not ego forged in quiet obedience and unseen prayers. You guide not for followers, but from a calling you can't ignore. You bless those who rejected you not to prove them wrong, but because they revealed your truth, you were meant to shepherd, not follow. Your uniqueness, once isolating, now qualifies you to lead, building new paths, not echoing the crowd. Loneliness can feel like exile, a silent wilderness where you're unseen and unheard. Surrounded by people, you've felt like a ghost, smiling through pain, laughing despite emptiness aching behind your eyes. Clichés offered no comfort, silence no warmth, just you trapped with thoughts echoing in an invisible cage. Friends vanished. Family misunderstood, doors slammed shut, leaving you breathless, questioning, "What did I do? Why am I left behind while the world moves on?" It felt like the world skipped your story for someone else's happy ending. The pain wasn't just solitude, but the lie whispering you weren't worth staying for, unworthy of love. Pause and breathe. You were never truly alone. Recall those nights when pain choked you, yet morning came. Days you couldn't move forward, yet you did. You were carried not by your strength, but by God's whisper. Keep going, not in thunder or applause, but in a timely scripture, a song that spoke to your soul, a stranger's kindness that brought tears. That was God saying, "I see you." Psalm chapter 23 verse 4 assures, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." This verse was written for the shadows, the valleys where fear and loneliness roar. Yet God was there. Hagar, weeping in the desert, thinking death was near met. God named him El Roi, the God who sees. Genesis chapter 16 verse 13 confirms, "She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her, 'You are the God who sees me.'" He kneels beside you in the dirt, whispering, "I always have." What felt like abandonment was holy separation, clearing space for God's voice. It was a spiritual detox, shedding false support for truth. Your sacred calling required this, too weighty for shallow roots or borrowed strength. God hides what he treasures, planting purpose in pain, growing prophets in wilderness. Psalm chapter 34 verse 18 declares, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Your isolation insulated you, forging unshakable peace and intimacy with God. You walk confidently now, unshaken by silence, connected to the one who never left. This peace defies the world and darkness. When loneliness returns, pause, remember you've survived the unsurvivable, found light in shadows, hope through tears. That's not loneliness, it's legacy. God didn't abandon you. He anchored you, preparing your spirit for what's next. There is a sacred kind of healing that unfolds far from the spotlight, a quiet, holy transformation that doesn't make headlines or trend on social media. It's not heralded with balloons, grand announcements, or roaring applause. No one throws a parade for the battles you've fought in silence, the victories you've won in the shadowed corners of your soul, or the resilience you've summoned to survive what should have shattered you into 1,000 irreparable pieces. No viral hashtags capture the weight of your quiet triumphs, the moments when you pieced yourself back together without an audience, without fanfare, without anyone noticing the magnitude of your courage. Yet make no mistake, this healing is sacred ground, a hallowed space where you've stood bloodied but unbowed and claimed a miracle that belongs to you alone. You've done something extraordinary, something divine. You've healed not just from the visible wounds the world could point to, those external scars of loss, betrayal, or hardship, but from the deeper hidden fractures etched into the very fabric of your soul. You've mended the silent cracks, born of pain that was never yours to carry. Trauma rooted in betrayal, neglect, or a silence that screamed louder than any words ever could. You've overcome the weight of being blamed for burdens that didn't belong to you. The accusations that you were too much, too different, or too broken to be whole. Words spoken over you, careless, cruel, or thoughtless, left marks that lingered long after the voices faded into memory. Environments shaped you, convincing you that love was a prize to be earned through perfection, that your worth was contingent on meeting impossible standards. Situations planted seeds of shame before you even knew what shame meant, embedding doubts that grew like weeds in your heart. Perhaps you inherited fear like a family heirloom passed down through generations, or were born into cycles of dysfunction that whispered chaos was normal, that peace was a myth. Maybe no one taught you how to feel safe in your own skin, only how to survive, how to brace for the next blow, how to keep moving when every step felt like walking through fire. But somewhere deep within you, a spark ignited a resolute, unshakable voice that declared, "This ends with me." That moment, that sacred defiance, was the genesis of your miracle, the turning point where you chose to rewrite your story and claim your divine right to healing. You didn't turn away from your pain or bury it beneath layers of denial. You faced it head-on with a courage that could only come from divine strength. You stood before the mirror of your soul, seeing not just your reflection, but the weight of your history, the stories, the wounds, the moments that shaped you. You owned the nights when tears soaked your pillow, when grief or heartbreak kept you awake, whispering questions no one could answer. You owned the days when you wore a smile like a mask, hiding the ache within, while the world moved on oblivious to your inner battle. Instead of numbing the pain with distractions or temporary fixes, you chose to sit with it, to let it burn until it refined you, like gold purified in the fiercest flames. You embraced the discomfort, choosing truth over the fleeting comfort of avoidance, clarity over the haze of denial. This was no small feat. It was a radical act of faith, a testament to your resilience. Like David hiding in caves, pursued and alone, you poured out your soul to a God whose presence you couldn't always feel but trusted was there. Psalm chapter 56 verse 8 declares, "You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Every tear you shed, every sleepless night, every whispered prayer in desperation, God saw them all, collecting them as sacred offerings in His eternal record. Your healing began the moment you realized your pain was not invisible, your struggles not unnoticed, your survival not accidental but intentional, orchestrated by a divine hand that saw your worth even when you couldn't. This realization was the cornerstone of your transformation, the moment you understood that your journey through pain was not just for you, but for the generations that will follow, a bold declaration that the chains of hurt, shame, and dysfunction would break with you. Your healing was not a solitary act, it was a revolutionary one, a sacred rebellion against the cycles of pain that tried to define you. You broke inherited chains with a resolute, no more refusing to let the wounds of the past dictate the future. You chose forgiveness, not because those who hurt you deserved it, but because your peace demanded it. This forgiveness wasn't about erasing the past or excusing the harm. It was about liberating your heart from the chains of bitterness, about choosing to embrace a better way forward, a path of light over darkness. Your healing wasn't flawless or linear. Some days, fear crept back like a shadow, whispering old doubts. Other days, anger or grief resurfaced, testing your resolve. But you kept showing up day after day, choosing to speak life over yourself even when your voice trembled, even when the weight of memory felt heavy. You redefined who you are, not by the hands that hurt you or the voices that tried to diminish you, but by the one who created you, the healer who called you worthy. Psalm chapter 107 verse 20 proclaims, "He sent out his word and healed them. He rescued them from the grave." You were saved not just from physical or external death, but from the inner death of silent suffering, from the slow poison of cloaked bitterness that could have consumed you. Now you move through the world differently, carrying the weight of your past without letting it break you. You remember the pain, but it no longer defines you. Instead, it informs the grace you extend to others, the compassion you've learned to give yourself. Your healed heart has become a vessel of blessing, a source of strength that builds up rather than tears down, that creates rather than destroys. This transformation is nothing short of miraculous, a testament to the power of faith and resilience. Like the woman who in raw desperation reached out to touch the hem of Jesus' robe, you reached for healing with a faith that refused to waver even when the crowd pressed in and hope seemed distant. Mark chapter 5 verse 34 records Jesus' words to her, "Daughters, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." In the same way, your faith, raw, persistent, and unyielding, has brought you to a place of peace, freeing you from the suffering that once held you captive. You've broken generational chains, not just for yourself, but for those who will come after you, ensuring that the cycles of pain, fear, and dysfunction end with your courage. You've resurrected the buried parts of yourself, dreams, hopes, and pieces of your spirit that were silenced or suppressed, and you've done so with a power that radiates divine strength. Your scars, once symbols of brokenness, now shine as badges of wisdom, glowing with the light of a heart made whole. They are not marks of shame, but testaments to your triumph, guiding others with the wisdom you've gained rather than the wounds you've endured. Your healing is not just a personal victory. It's a gift to the world, a beacon of hope that illuminates the possibility of transformation for others, walking their own paths of pain. This sacred healing extends beyond the boundaries of your own life, rippling outward to touch those around you. Your transformed heart now carries a gentleness that soothes, a strength that uplifts, and a wisdom that inspires. You've learned to navigate relationships with a newfound grace, offering forgiveness where resentment once lived, extending patience where frustration once reigned. Your interactions are no longer colored by the need to prove your worth or defend your heart. Instead, they are infused with the confidence of someone who knows their value in God's eyes. You've become a living testimony to the power of divine restoration, showing others that healing is possible even from the deepest wounds. Your journey has taught you to see others through the lens of compassion, recognizing their struggles as echoes of your own and offering them the same grace you fought to claim for yourself. This is the eternal nature of your transformation. A healing that doesn't fade with time but grows stronger, deeper, and more radiant as you continue to walk in faith. Your healing journey is a sacred tapestry woven with threads of courage, faith, and divine intervention. Each step you've taken, each moment you chose to face your pain, to forgive, to rise again, has added a new layer to this masterpiece. You've learned to trust in God's timing, to rest in His promises, even when the path ahead seemed uncertain. Your heart, once heavy with the weight of inherited pain or self-imposed guilt, now beats with a rhythm of hope aligned with the pulse of divine purpose. You've discovered that healing is not a destination, but a lifelong practice, a commitment to showing up for yourself with the same love and patience God extends to you. This practice isn't about achieving perfection, but about embracing progress, celebrating the small victories that mark your growth, and trusting that every step forward is guided by divine hands. Your spirit team, those unseen companions who've witnessed every tear and triumph, stands in awe of your resilience, cheering you on as you continue to walk this path of wholeness. They see the eternal impact of your healing, not just in your life, but in the lives you touch, the generations you free, and the hope you inspire. As you move forward, carry this truth. Your healing is a divine legacy, a gift that extends far beyond your own story. It's a testament to the power of God's love, a love that sees every hidden wound counts, every silent tear, and celebrates every step toward wholeness. You've transformed pain into purpose, scars into stars, and brokenness into a beacon of light. Your journey is a reminder that no wound is too deep, no chain too strong, and no heart too broken to be made whole by the one who created it. So stand tall in your healed identity, knowing that you are not defined by what tried to break you, but by the God who restored you. Let your life be a living prayer, a constant offering of gratitude for the miracle of your transformation, and a bold declaration that healing is possible even in the quiet, unseen moments. Your scars shine with divine wisdom. Your heart radiates with divine love, and your journey is an eternal testimony to the power of faith, grace, and resilience. Be blessed as you continue to walk this sacred path, leading others to their own healing with the light you now carry. Your ability to love while still mending is a quiet, profound miracle. You don't wait for full restoration or a perfect life to offer hope. Despite unhealed wounds, you show up with compassion in your hands and encouragement on your lips. You uplift others, even when your heart feels depleted. Offering comfort you've rarely received, praying for others' healing while navigating your own pain. This isn't an act, it's sacred courage, the holy act of loving through hurt, giving through ache, breathing life into others while seeking God's breath for yourself. The world says wait until you're whole to help, until your life shines to lead. But you've uncovered a deeper truth. You don't need to be complete to be faithful. Your story, even unfinished, holds power. Your heart, mid-healing, has worth. Consider Peter, broken after denying Jesus, yet chosen to preach at Pentecost, saving thousands. Acts chapter 2, verse 41 confirms those who accepted his message were baptized, and about 3,000 were added to their number that day. God used him in his healing, just as he uses you. Your quiet strength transforms environments, checking on others despite being unchecked. Smiling through weary eyes, holding space for others' pain while managing your own. That's kingdom work. Galatians chapter 6, verse 2 instructs, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." Heaven sees every prayer, every encouraging text, every moment you listen with a heavy heart, choosing compassion over bitterness. Your kind words plant seeds of healing in others, and yourself, declaring that pain won't define you, that your past won't halt you, that love is your choice. Those seeds grow, intertwining healing and purpose. You serve through your presence, proving you can be wounded yet wise, fragile yet faithful. Psalm chapter 34, verse 18 reminds, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." You've felt his nearness in whispers and strength when you were empty in peace after long days. You're a refuge for others, not because you're flawless, but because your scars make you safe, your unconditional love born of pain's understanding. You lead quietly, powerfully, without needing a stage. God honors your sacrifices, building something eternal through your love. Keep showing up, offering softness in a harsh world, speaking life despite trembling, for your miracle lies not just in your healing, but in the healing you share. Pause for a moment right now and breathe in this truth. You are becoming the very miracle you used to cry out for in the dark. The prayers you once whispered through tears, the desperate pleas from your breaking heart, they were not in vain. They were seeds. Now, quietly, powerfully beneath the surface of your everyday life, those seeds are blooming into something divine. That peace you once chased, that felt so distant and unreachable, is no longer running from you. It's settling into your soul, slowly, almost without notice, becoming the anchor in your storm. The stillness in your chaos, the quiet confidence that holds your head high. Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3 assures, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." Your yearning for stability, for a foundation that holds firm, is being fulfilled not in dramatic flourishes, but in steady growth, wiser decisions, firmer boundaries, and the ability to stand unwavering even when plans falter. You prayed for a love that heals, that stays, that nurtures rather than drains. That love is blossoming now, not only from others, but from the Creator of love, Himself. Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 3 declares, "The Lord appeared to us in the past, saying, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness." So God pours His boundless love into you, teaching you to cherish yourself through truth and grace, affirming your worth beyond conditions. The clarity you sought in confusion's fog is breaking like dawn. The path ahead grows visible step by step. Your once fearful mind now sharp with discernment and wisdom shaped by prayer. The invisible broken you who held everything together while crumbling wasn't weak. She was the soil for your growth. From that sorrow, God crafted something radiant. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20 records Joseph saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done." What meant to break you propelled you toward destiny. God didn't just save you from the pit. He's positioning you for purpose, crafting a life that draws all, not for your glory, but His. The masterpiece is unfolding blessings, forming unseen conversations, doors, softened hearts. Your spirit senses the holy work. One day, the life you prayed for on your knees will be your reality, needing no proof or explanation. Your presence will testify, shifting atmospheres, embodying God's power. Philippians chapter 1 verse 6 confirms, "Being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." Your journey is becoming a legacy, your prayers footprints of boldness. Walk forward with faith, carrying healing's light. The miracle isn't coming, it's within you. If you've reached this far, this isn't just another message. It's a divine reawakening of truths your soul may have forgotten. You are chosen, handcrafted to shape, heal, and rose above life, speaking truth where lies once reigned. That's not pressure, it's purpose alive in you. This calling doesn't end here, it's meant to spark action, alignment, and responsibility for the wisdom, compassion, and insight you carry. Live it daily. Choose forgiveness over bitterness. Speak kindly to yourself. Set boundaries to guard your peace. Release what no longer serves who you're becoming. Start mornings in truth, seeking the Holy Spirit's guidance to live as your healed self. Be present, bold, surrendered, soft, to hear God, brave to obey. Speak one word of life daily to a stranger, friend, or yourself. Build a rhythm of blessing through how you forgive, refuse gossip, or choose patience. Worship in silence, serve unnoticed, pray despite doubts. You don't need a platform, only consistency. No title, only truth and love. Be the sign others see and say, "That's God." Speak freedom in storms, healing in scars, joy in lingering weight. Your healing is for families, you'll restore friends, you'll uplift strangers who'll find hope in your story. Children, free from curses because you declared, "This ends with me." You carry a flame that warms, lights, and revives, making you vital to the kingdom. The enemy wanted your wounds to silence you, but you're wiser, bolder, softer, tears in your eyes, truth in your voice, a living miracle. Live like it, guided by peace, carrying truth, open to give and receive. You've walked through fire, now walk in power. You've battled darkness, now carry light. You've risen from ashes, now rise with purpose. This is your time to be present, aligned simply to be. If this stirs clarity, courage, or confirmation, comment, "I receive this fully and fearlessly." Let heaven record your soul's echo. Now enter a sacred moment, a divine exchange to surrender burdens, receive ongoing healing, and anchor in your chosen, called, covered identity. Pause still your heart, wherever you are. This prayer could mark the start of what you've long sought. Heavenly Father, we approach you in awe, humbled, open. You're not distant, but a personal Father who sees, knows, heals, and restores. We lift every heart reading this. You know their story, calling them by name. Thank you for battles, You've carried us through understood or questioned. Thank you for holding us in unseen brokenness for grace when we couldn't move for love that never let go. We pray for the weary carrying unchosen pain, walking through fire. Envelop them in peace, your word, their breath, your spirit, their strength. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10 declares, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Make that promise real now. For those in transition, letting go of the old without seeing the new, speak direction, clarity, confirmation. You're not late, you're intentional. Their waiting isn't empty. You're moving. For hearts labeled too much, too different, too broken, silence lies tear down labels. Psalm chapter 139 verse 14 affirms, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Let truth drown out doubt, replacing insecurity with identity, shame with sonship, rejection with belonging. Heal hidden wounds, childhood scars, betrayals, buried griefs. Jehovah Rapha, let healing flow, mending not just what was done, but false beliefs about self. Awaken gifts in those hiding, stir courage to rise. They don't need perfection, only obedience. Their yes matters, called to impact, not impress. Break through for those who've lost hope, thinking promises are dead. Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 4 states, "Then he said to me, prophesy to these bones, and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Speak life to dead hopes, buried callings. Grant wisdom for hard choices, discernment of truth." James chapter 1 verse 5 promises, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Flood us with clarity. Teach us to love ourselves as you do, patient with our growth, free from performance. Root our identity in you, not titles or status. Grant peace that anchors in chaos, guarding hearts and minds. Philippians chapter 4 verse 7 assures, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Align our paths, desires, words with your will. We seek holiness, service, and blessings. Turn scars into stories, tears into testimonies, weaknesses into weapons. We say yes, trembling, but sure to the calling, refining, becoming never abandoned, always prepared, protected, positioned. Let this prayer awaken shift, make healing visible, purpose undeniable, faith unstoppable. In Jesus' matchless name we pray. Amen. If you prayed with an open heart, a shift has begun, felt or not. God finishes what He starts. Your journey isn't ending, it's expanding. Thank you for your courage to read, believe, receive. If this prayer touched you, comment, Amen. I receive it, and I'm walking in it. Let heaven and earth align with your faith. Stay grounded, faithful, never forgetting you're not just chosen, you're proof. Miracles still happen. God bless you. Imagine standing in a celestial courtroom surrounded by divine light, with your struggles laid bare before a panel of beings who understand every hardship you've endured, every tear you've shed, every prayer whispered in desperation, and every sleepless night spent wondering when the pain would end, each moment recorded. As you stand there, God's gaze is not one of judgment, but of profound understanding. He sees your journey, your growth, and the battles you fought. Today, a decree from heaven is delivered. Your case is closed. What does this declaration truly mean for you? It means the endless cycle of hardship that once defined your life is now over. The obstacles that once seemed immovable, the patterns that kept you stuck, are now shifting, breaking, or disappearing entirely. This is not just empty reassurance. This is a powerful shift at the deepest level. Something has snapped into place, and you are no longer bound by the limitations that once held you back. Whether it's a financial struggle that resisted every attempt to overcome it, a toxic relationship pattern that caused heartache time and again, or a health issue that seemed impossible to heal. Whatever your case was, the gavel has struck, and you are now free to move on. But how can you truly embrace this new freedom? To do so, it's crucial to acknowledge that your soul's growth has played a vital role in this shift. The universe doesn't allow prolonged suffering without purpose. Just as God told the Israelites to remain in the desert until they learned obedience and faith, your struggles were meant to teach you something essential. Perhaps it was patience, learning to trust in God's timing. Maybe it was discovering your own self-worth, realizing you are worthy of better than what you've accepted in the past. Or it could be forgiveness, learning to release the pain others caused you to heal your own heart. Like students who finally pass their exams after much hard work, you've now been allowed to graduate from this trial, having integrated the lessons you were meant to learn. Just as God spoke to the Israelites through Moses in Exodus, guiding them through hardships to prepare them for the promised land, your journey has been one of preparation. The difficulties you faced weren't in vain. They were molding you, shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. Can you see how this has prepared you for what lies ahead? As the gavel falls, you are invited to step into a new chapter. The burden has been lifted and your path is clear. Are you ready to walk forward in faith, knowing that God has closed the case and the victory is already won? The battle is over, and now it's time to claim what is rightfully yours. God has not only heard your cries, but also seen your growth, and today He affirms that the lesson is complete. You've passed the test, and your breakthrough is here. Action. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths and place your hand over your heart. As you inhale deeply, feel the air filling your lungs, and as you exhale, release any lingering tension. Now silently affirm, I accept that my case is closed. I am no longer bound by the past. I stand ready to embrace the fresh start God has ordained. As these words settle into your heart, feel the weight lifting from your spirit. This is more than a physical gesture. It is a spiritual declaration marking your release from the burdens of old struggles and setting you free to step into your new chapter. However, embracing this divine verdict also means letting go of the comfort that comes with familiarity. There's a peculiar sense of security in staying stuck even when it's painful. Familiar pain, though difficult, is often easier to bear than the uncertainty of change. The old patterns, the old struggles become a strange comfort zone, one we feel we can predict, even if they cause harm. But now, God is calling you to leave behind that comfort zone, inviting you to step into the unknown realm of healing growth and progress. Yes, this is a divine invitation to leave behind the familiar pain and move forward into the new season He has prepared for you. But here's the truth. Not everyone finds it easy to release their old stories. Some hold tightly to the past, believing their suffering defines them, hesitant to let go. Convinced change is impossible. This is where faith comes in. Will you trust that God's decision is final and will lead you to a higher place? If you can believe in this decree, it will propel you into a new life, one where you live with greater joy, peace and freedom. Isaiah chapter 43 verses 18 to 19 states, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? God is doing a new thing in your life, and you must choose to see it." Think of it like this. If a judge declared you no longer had to pay a heavy penalty, how would you feel? Wouldn't you rejoice in your newfound freedom, knowing a heavy burden has been lifted? You would likely adjust your life accordingly, perhaps even celebrating the release. This is the same freedom you're being granted now, but spiritually, God has declared your case closed, and the chains of your past are broken. It's time to rejoice and step into the life that awaits you, one full of possibilities. Now reflect on what you can do with this new freedom. What once seemed impossible is now within reach. Perhaps there's a dream you've hesitated to pursue, like applying for that job that felt out of your grasp, or opening your heart to love again after past hurts. Maybe it's about setting new boundaries, no longer allowing others to dictate your worth or peace. Philippians chapter 4 verse 13 declares, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This is your moment to operate in the strength God has provided, trusting He is equipping you for the journey ahead. Are you ready to step into your new reality, free from the past and empowered by God's grace? The verdict has been rendered, your case is closed, and now it's time to live out the promise of new beginnings. Your spirit team watches with great pride as you accept this momentous shift in your life. They've seen you struggle, fight, and yearn for clarity, understanding, and relief from the burdens you've carried. Now that the breakthrough has come, picture them smiling with joy, cheering you on as they eagerly await to see what you will do with this newfound freedom. Every ounce of energy you've poured into your growth has not been in vain. It has built momentum, fueling you to move forward with strength and purpose. This is not just a change, it is a divine affirmation of all the work you've done to reach this point. However, understand that this shift doesn't mean all challenges will disappear from your life. Life is a journey of cycles, and every season has its challenges. But here's the truth. The specific repetitive cycle that has tormented you is over. This is like finishing a chapter in a book that has held your attention and struggle for so long. Now you're turning the page, ready to dive into the next chapter with excitement, curiosity, and hope for what's to come. Think of it as closing one door and walking through the next, knowing this chapter was meant to teach you something, and now you are prepared to move forward. God's hands have cleared the table of your past struggles, and now it's your turn to arrange the next course. What will you do with this clean slate? What steps will you take to build on this foundation? This is your moment of freedom, your time to design the life you've always dreamed of. But remember, the key to navigating this new chapter with success is to stay aligned with the divine decision made over your life. Your freedom isn't just a release from the past, it's an invitation to move forward with purpose and confidence. As you journey into the coming seasons, know that God is guiding you, offering insight on how to walk with assurance, faith, and clarity. Consider how this newfound freedom can propel you into places you once thought unattainable. Maybe it's the courage to pursue a long-held dream, or the strength to heal old wounds and open your heart to new possibilities. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 affirms, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." God has cleared the way for you. The doors to your future are wide open, waiting for you to step through. You no longer have to feel like you're on trial, constantly proving your worth or struggling for answers. You have been released, and the doors of possibility are swinging wide open. What will you do next? How will you use this freedom to build the life God has called you to live? Step through those doors with confidence. Your next chapter is waiting, filled with divine purpose and endless opportunities. With your case closed and the weight of your struggles lifted, it's time to sever the ties that have kept you bound to past cycles. Picture these attachments as energetic cords, invisible but powerful links, binding you to old situations, limiting beliefs, or people who have kept you stuck in patterns of pain and stagnation. When God declares your burden lifted, these cords become obsolete. Continuing to hold on only slows your progress and hinders your ability to move into the new season of your life. What do these attachments look like? Perhaps they manifest as lingering resentment that twists your gut when you recall a specific event, or a fear that you're doomed to repeat past mistakes, no matter how hard you try. Or maybe a person who represents the pain you've endured, someone you've tried to fix, chase, or impress, even though their presence has held you back from moving forward. These attachments can feel like an anchor, preventing you from experiencing the freedom and growth God has promised. Now is the time to let these attachments dissolve. This doesn't mean forgetting the lessons you've learned or the experiences that shaped you. It means freeing yourself from the emotional entanglement, tethering you to a past that no longer serves you. The process of releasing these attachments can be powerful and transformative, and it begins with forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't about excusing wrongs done to you or pretending the hurt never happened. It's about liberating yourself from the grip of bitterness and anger that keeps you trapped in a cycle of pain. Consider Joseph in the Bible. His brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and left him for dead. Despite years of suffering, Joseph chose forgiveness. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20 records him saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph understood that forgiveness didn't mean his brother's actions were okay. It was necessary for his own healing and for the greater purpose God had for his life. He released the attachment to betrayal, allowing God to use it for something greater. Forgiving others is essential, but so is releasing the blame you carry toward yourself. Perhaps you've held on to guilt or shame for mistakes or things that didn't go as hoped. Releasing blame doesn't mean absolving yourself of responsibility. It means recognizing your past doesn't define your future. When you forgive yourself and let go of self-blame, you untie the knots anchoring you to a painful past. This process can be challenging, but is necessary for your growth and freedom. As you let go of these emotional cords, you create space for new possibilities, healing, and the manifestation of God's plans for your life. Consider how much lighter and freer you'll feel once these attachments are released. What would it be like to walk through life unburdened by resentment, fear, or guilt? God is calling you to step into the fullness of your divine purpose, and that means releasing the emotional baggage holding you back. Trust that as you release these attachments, you make room for new blessings, opportunities, and growth God has prepared for you. This is your time to move forward, unburdened and ready for what lies ahead. Take a moment to reflect on the attachments you're holding on to. Be honest and identify 3 that no longer serve you: deep-rooted beliefs, past experiences, or old wounds you're still carrying. For example, maybe you've told yourself, "I will always struggle financially," or an old heartbreak keeps you from trusting others. Whatever they are, acknowledge them. Then for each attachment, write a statement of release, like, "I release the belief that I am destined for failure. I open myself to success." By putting these intentions into writing, you take the first step in setting a new, energetic standard for yourself. Releasing attachments isn't just about letting go of physical objects or past experiences. It's about shedding illusions like false beliefs that you needed someone else's validation or deserved hardship. This is your moment to step into the truth. You are worthy of all the blessings life offers, capable of creating the life you desire, and divinely guided. However, this process can stir discomfort. As you let go, you might feel tempted to cling to the familiar weight of old attachments. Remember, the verdict has been rendered, your case closed. Holding on to the past is like carrying a heavy chain that's been unlocked. You have the power to drop it at any time. The moment you do, your energy becomes free, available for new opportunities, healthier relationships, and personal growth. Have you noticed how much lighter you feel when you stop carrying burdens that aren't yours to bear? As you release these attachments, emotions flow more freely. Creativity comes easier, and the universe sends opportunities your way, seemingly out of nowhere. This is God's response to your willingness to travel light. When your hands aren't full of baggage, you can grasp the blessings God places in your path. Your spirit team cheers you on, understanding that each attachment released makes room for fresh, vibrant energy. Think of it like cleaning a cluttered room. Once cleared, it's ready for something aligning with your divine purpose. As you continue this journey of liberation, your intuition sharpens without the cloud of old emotional baggage, allowing you to discern God's guidance clearly. This state of release will become second nature. You'll recognize when you're attaching to something unhelpful and ask, "Is this worth my energy?" Often you'll realize it's not, and in that realization you'll feel liberated. The more you let go, the more space you create for new blessings to flow into your life. Releasing attachments doesn't mean erasing your past. Your experiences shaped you, taught valuable lessons, and brought you here. But now, honor those lessons by transforming them into wisdom, using them to navigate new challenges with confidence and grace, knowing you're better equipped than ever. As you move forward, see yourself as a traveler, lightening their load with less weight. You'll walk faster, climb higher, and see farther. Clearing what no longer serves you creates space for blessings, aligning with the person you're becoming. The path ahead is filled with infinite possibilities, and you're ready to explore it with an unburdened spirit. Isn't it time you stepped into that freedom? Once you've accepted that your old struggles have been resolved and released, the burdens holding you back, you're in a prime position to deepen your connection with divine guidance. Understand that God is not a distant figure operating from afar like a puppet master. Instead, He is intimately present in every moment, guiding each breath, each decision. By clearing old distractions, you create space to tune into the divine voice always waiting for your attention. How can you strengthen this connection? It begins with stillness. In our chaotic world where noise and distraction abound, cultivating quiet moments is a powerful act of rebellion. You don't need hours of meditation in isolation. Start with small steps, a few minutes in the morning or before bed, being fully present. All you need is silence, a chance to breathe, and a willingness to invite the divine into your heart. In those moments, imagine God's voice as a gentle, steady stream flowing through your consciousness, bringing wisdom and encouragement. Does this seem too simple for such a powerful being? 1 Kings, chapter 19, verses 11 to 12 recounts that when Elijah sought God, he didn't hear His voice in the mighty wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a still, small voice. What if God is speaking in those quiet moments, waiting for you to listen? Could the guidance you seek already be there, waiting for you to pause and notice? By inviting stillness, you clear space for God's voice and strengthen your ability to hear it clearly. It's not about forcing something to happen, but allowing time to be open to God's subtle promptings. Have you ever had a moment of clarity where a simple thought felt like a divine nudge? Imagine experiencing more by embracing stillness and tuning into the divine frequency. As you practice trust, God's guidance is always present. It's not about the length of silence, but the quality of connection. Just as a stream doesn't need to roar to carry water, God's voice doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Are you ready to hear it in the quiet? The journey of divine guidance awaits. Beginning with a moment of peace, place one hand on your heart, the other on your abdomen, grounding yourself in your breath's rhythm. As you take slow, deliberate breaths, feel your body's response to each inhale and exhale. In this silence, ask God quietly, "What do I need to know today?" Pause and listen. You may not hear words, but might sense a feeling, see a vivid image, or feel an intuitive nudge. Trust this subtle guidance is as real as any spoken word. Even if not immediately obvious, divine guidance is at work. The more you practice checking in, the more natural it feels to tune into this divine language. You'll develop the ability to distinguish between ego-driven impulses and true spiritual counsel. When a thought arises, ask, does it feel expansive or constrictive? Divine thoughts bring hope, clarity, and peace, while fear or shame-based thoughts tighten your chest and cloud your mind. God's voice brings calm assurance, not confusion or anxiety. Have you noticed when you follow divine guidance, things unfold in ways that feel right, even if unclear? Initially, as you strengthen this connection, synchronicities occur more frequently. Not random coincidences, but God's confirmations you're on the right path. You might overhear a conversation answering a question or find a book addressing your challenge. These moments are divine affirmations of alignment. The Bible shows God using signs like the burning bush for Moses or the star guiding the wise men to Jesus. Could signs in your life be divine calls to trust God's guidance? Increased sensitivity to these signs allows you to move through life with ease and confidence. Decisions once paralyzing become clearer, sensing the divinely approved path instead of weighing endless pros and cons. Life won't be obstacle-free, but challenges are faced with faith that God is by your side. Even detours or setbacks become meaningful lessons and growth opportunities. Gratitude is another layer of this connection. Thank God for every whisper calming your doubts. It opens your heart to more. Acknowledging blessings deepens your divine connection like a magnet, drawing more wisdom. Have you felt your heart expand when grateful? Through stillness, trust, and gratitude, you invite God's presence, making His guidance a transformative force. Are you ready to listen closer to His whispers? Your spirit team plays an essential role in this divine communication, acting as loving messengers, helping interpret God's subtle hints. Think of them as guides decoding his messages, leaving symbolic feathers, inspiring vivid dreams, or orchestrating chance encounters leading to breakthroughs. The more open you are, the easier it is to recognize their nudges. Have you wondered how many coincidences were divine messages? As you deepen your connection with God, it evolves from formal to intimate, a two-way conversation where you speak, listen, laugh, and cry together. Prayer shifts from desperate pleas to ongoing dialogue rooted in trust. It's no longer about asking, but sharing your heart, finding comfort in His presence. This sacred bond ensures you're never alone even in tough times. The more intimately you know God, the more you realize He's always been there, waiting for you to recognize His voice. Strengthening this connection builds resilience. When challenges hit, you won't fall apart. You'll pause, tune in, and know you're equipped. Your inner compass, cultivated through divine connection, becomes your anchor. No matter the external storm, you remain grounded, knowing your spiritual guidance is steady. Recall a time when, despite feeling overwhelmed, a whisper of reassurance said everything would work out. That guidance keeps you moving forward in uncertainty. Divine guidance is a constant companion, a north star shining through clouds. The more you trust it, the brighter it guides you through challenges and opportunities. It's not a one-time gift, but a steady beacon illuminating your purpose. Isn't it reassuring to have something divine to turn to? In future chapters, we'll explore harnessing this guidance to create new realities. Deepen your purpose and amplify your transformation's ripple effect. For now, cherish your growing sensitivity. You've cleared blockages and released baggage, fine-tuning your spiritual antenna for heaven's signals. Each pause and listen affirms you're guided, supported, and loved. Have you noticed your sensitivity increasing? Trust it grows stronger daily, guiding you with clarity and confidence. Divine guidance isn't meant to stay abstract, it longs to manifest tangibly. God closed your case to empower action, transforming spiritual insights into real-world results. You're a conduit, a vessel where divine intelligence shapes your daily life, bridging heaven and earth. Perhaps you felt nudges to start a community uplifting project, switch to a purpose-aligned career, or build authentic relationships. These aren't fleeting thoughts, but divine whispers calling you to act. Their power unlocks only when put into motion. Consider Moses called to lead the Israelites from Egypt. He could have doubted his ability or timing, but his obedience unfolded God's plan. The same applies to you. Have you hesitated on a nudge due to fear or doubt? What if those moments were God's urging toward your purpose? Acting on guidance opens doors, unfolds opportunities, and aligns divine favor with your steps. It's a partnership with the Creator. God is with you every step. The Bible shows God calling people to act in faith before seeing outcomes, like Joshua marching around Jericho for 7 days. Joshua chapter 6 verse 20 recounts, "When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed." It wasn't marching, but obedience to God's instructions that activated His power. Likewise, acting on God's guidance aligns you with His will. Are you ready to step into that calling? What is God prompting today? Reflect on recent guidance, subtle or direct, and commit to a concrete step. If led to a new career, research courses or schedule an informational interview. If prompted to heal a relationship, write a heartfelt message or arrange a conversation. Acting grounds divine energy, bridging spiritual and material realms. Results may not be immediate, seeds need time to grow. Patience is key. The journey isn't about forcing outcomes, but trusting God's plan, each step moving you toward destiny. Abraham obeyed God's call to leave his homeland without knowing what awaited. Trusting God's plan was bigger. Genesis chapter 12 verse 1 states, "The Lord had said to Abram, 'Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you.' Your trust-filled actions draw you closer to God's promises. Obstacles become stepping stones, not barriers, building strength and skills. David's giant became a platform for his future through faith and action. Your challenges can transform when you act from certainty, not desperation. Living in alignment radiates confidence and peace, drawing others to your energy. Like Jesus' light, your example inspires others to trust their guidance, sparking empowered living. Not every action yields monumental change. Small actions like a kind word or uplifting reading have cumulative power. Your spirit team celebrates each step, knowing many receive guidance but fail to act. Your willingness harvests divine wisdom's fruit, living faith through tangible efforts. Over time, acting on whispers becomes second nature, trusting even with lingering doubt. This harmonizes with God's plan, partnering with grace to shape your journey. In future chapters, we'll explore sustaining this momentum, ensuring divine guidance endures in daily life. For now, congratulate yourself for bridging spiritual and material, creating a life where God's voice is acted upon and dreams find solid footing. What action will you take today as you continue your spiritual journey? Maintaining steadfast faith and confidence is crucial. When God declares your case closed, uncertainty may arise, wondering if this peace and guidance are too good to be true, fearing they could vanish. Take heart. God isn't playing games. This closure is a permanent milestone in your spiritual evolution, proving you're ready to live in greater alignment with His will. It's easy to doubt when things go smoothly, questioning if you can trust this phase. But reflect on your journey. Hardships and steps weren't coincidences, but divinely orchestrated, each challenge bringing you closer to your purpose. Just as the Israelites wandered 40 years, their struggles led to the promised land. Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 2 mentions, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart." Could your doubts be part of the process, guiding you to greater trust? Confidence flows when you remember you're never alone, partnered with God's Spirit, committed to your flourishing. Matthew chapter 28 verse 20 assures, "And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." Even in uncertainty, God walks with you. When doubt creeps in, don't see it as failure, but an invitation to reconnect with truth. Instead of panicking, pause and reflect through prayer, meditation, journaling, or deep breathing to hear divine reassurance. Psalm chapter 46 verse 10 declares, "Be still and know that I am God." In stillness, God's presence calms turmoil, restoring confidence. Recall the disciples in the storm, fearing for their lives, yet Jesus, calm and unshaken, commanded the winds to cease. Mark chapter 4 verse 39 recounts, "He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, 'Quiet, be still.' Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm." He can calm your doubts too. Will you rest in His peace? Each time you affirm trust, you reinforce faith, guiding you through challenges. Your growth results from countless divine moments. As you continue to see how every step was God's plan. Trust what lies ahead, manifests His will, bringing peace, surpassing understanding. Create a heartfelt ritual to reaffirm faith when doubts threaten. When uncertainty creeps in, light a candle and say, "I am supported, my path is guided, all is well." Or find a quiet space, close your eyes, inhale slowly, and visualize God's radiant light encircling you, seeping into every cell, reminding you of His constant presence. Each ritual transforms disheartening moments into opportunities to deepen trust. Your faith flourishes by seeing challenges as exercises, strengthening your spiritual muscles, not regression. You've reached a pivotal moment in your spiritual evolution where the flashes of insight and transformative revelations you've experienced must now transition from fleeting sparks into enduring, unshakable truths that form the bedrock of your daily existence. This is not merely about basking in the glow of initial inspiration or celebrating momentary breakthroughs. It's about committing to a deliberate, sustained practice that embeds spiritual principles so deeply into your worldview that they govern every thought, decision, and action, evolving from abstract, lofty ideals into the very fabric of your everyday truths and routines. Imagine your life as a grand architectural masterpiece. Those initial insights are the blueprint, but without a solid foundation poured with consistent effort. The entire structure risks shifting, cracking, or collapsing under the weight of life's inevitable pressures. In the same way, without regular, intentional spiritual practices, the old habits, doubts, and limiting patterns may subtly resurface, threatening to erode the progress you've made. But here's the encouraging reality: if doubts or familiar behaviors reappear, don't view them as signs of failure or regression. You've already tasted the sweet freedom of alignment and the profound peace of divine connection, and that experience alone equips you to reclaim your ground swiftly. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17 affirms, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." You're actively walking in this truth, and with vigilant, diligent action, you can guard and nurture this peace and clarity, ensuring they flourish rather than fade. Consider the early Christians as a powerful example of this solidification in action. They didn't confine their faith to Sunday gatherings or occasional rituals. They wove it into the rhythm of their daily lives with unwavering devotion. Acts chapter 2 verse 42 notes, "They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer." Their transformation wasn't a one-time event, but a continual, holistic alignment with God's will, permeating every conversation, meal, and moment, turning ordinary days into sacred opportunities for growth and community. Have you fully integrated your spiritual insights into every aspect of your life, from your morning coffee routine to your workplace interactions, from family dinners to quiet evenings alone? This integration isn't optional. It's the key to making your faith a living, breathing force rather than a distant memory. The process of solidifying your new reality is akin to pouring a deep, reinforced concrete foundation for a towering building. Without this sturdy base, even the most beautiful design will settle unevenly or succumb to storms. Just as an architect meticulously layers gravel, rebar, and concrete to ensure stability, you must layer daily disciplines, prayer, reflection, gratitude, and scripture meditation to fortify your spiritual core against the tempests of doubt, distraction, or discouragement. Without this consistency, the exhilaration of a breakthrough can wane, allowing old thought patterns to creep back like weeds in untended soil. But with it, your transformation becomes an impenetrable fortress, unshakable and enduring. The Israelites provide another vivid illustration of this principle, freed from Egypt's bondage. They didn't immediately enter the promised land, but spent 40 years in the wilderness, solidifying their faith through daily reliance on God's provision. Exodus chapter 16 verse 4 states, "Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven for you." Their trials weren't punishments, but deliberate preparations, teaching dependence on divine sustenance, obedience in the mundane, and trust amid uncertainty, forging them into a nation ready for abundance. Your current challenges serve the same refining purpose, honing your faith for the next glorious stage of your journey. Protect and cultivate your truth through daily practices. Begin mornings with heartfelt prayer, inviting God's presence to set the tone. End evenings with reflective journaling, noting insights and gratitudes. Incorporate midday meditations, even 5 minutes of deep breathing paired with a single scripture verse to recenter your mind. These aren't burdensome chores, but lifelines that anchor you, transforming potential vulnerabilities into sources of strength. Are you prepared to invest in these practices, committing to them with vigilance even amid life's relentless distractions like endless notifications, demanding schedules, or tempting escapes? By consistently reinforcing your faith through these rhythms, your transformation evolves from a temporary shift into a permanent, radiant reality aligned with God's eternal purpose, where every day builds upon the last, creating a life of unyielding spiritual momentum. To make this solidification practical and achievable, start by identifying one spiritual principle that resonates most deeply with your current journey, whether it's gratitude for past lessons, patience in ongoing trials, love for self and others, or surrender to divine will. Make this your daily focal point, a guiding star for your thoughts and actions. Each morning, reaffirm it aloud or in writing. Today I choose gratitude, letting it color every interaction and perspective. Carry this affirmation like a steady torch through your day, gently noticing when you drift perhaps in a moment of frustration at work or irritation in traffic, and consciously steering back with a quick breath and a whispered reminder. Over weeks, this repetition forges sturdy neural pathways in your brain, rewiring automatic responses so that your chosen principle becomes second nature, flowing effortlessly like breathing rather than requiring constant effort. Celebrate even the subtlest progress, responding to a minor annoyance with understanding instead of snapping, facing a small challenge with faith rather than frustration, or pausing mid-conversation to choose kindness over judgment. These quiet victories are sacred confirmations of genuine evolution, proof that your inner work is taking root and bearing fruit. Treat yourself with profound kindness throughout this process, recognizing that spiritual growth unfolds in natural waves, expansive plateaus of ease where insights flow freely, reflective dips where old shadows resurface for final integration, and occasional detours that reveal unexpected wisdom. God doesn't demand flawless perfection. He cherishes your heartfelt dedication, every sincere attempt to align with His truth. Your spirit team rejoices in these integrations, knowing true mastery blooms not from dramatic overhauls, but from the patient maintenance of daily shifts, creating an inner environment where divine energy circulates freely, guiding choices, words, and relationships with intuitive grace. As this practice deepens, watch your professional life unfold with newfound compassion and intuition, turning tense meetings into collaborative triumphs and routine tasks into purposeful contributions. Personal relationships blossom with effortless kindness, conflicts resolving in understanding rather than escalation, bonds strengthening through authentic vulnerability. Even leisure transforms, drawing you to soul-nurturing activities like walks in nature, creative hobbies, or heartfelt conversations that replenish rather than deplete. Chosen one, there comes a sacred season in every awakened life when the long, deliberate practice of alignment finally crosses an invisible threshold and becomes something far more wondrous than discipline. It becomes an identity. It becomes breath. It becomes the effortless rhythm by which your spirit now moves through the world. What once demanded clenched fists of willpower, endless reminders, and exhaustive inner wrestling now flows with the same quiet inevitability as your own heartbeat. You no longer have to chase alignment. Alignment has caught up with you, overtaken you, and made its permanent home inside your bones. Gratitude, that precious fragrance of the awakened soul, stops being an item on your spiritual to-do list and begins rising spontaneously, unforced, unannounced, like wildflowers pushing through concrete after spring rain. You will be standing at the sink washing dishes when suddenly the ordinary golden light pouring through the window hits the water just right, and your eyes fill with tears for no explainable reason except that you are alive, you are held, and the one who paints sunsets has not forgotten your name. You will be stuck in gridlocked traffic, late for an appointment when a song you haven't heard in years comes on the radio, and instead of frustration, a soft, irrepressible smile spreads across your face because you remember how far He has brought you. You will wake up on a perfectly average Tuesday morning, chest rising and falling with borrowed breath, and before your feet even touch the floor, a quiet, holy thank you slips from your lips. Not because you remembered to be thankful, but because thankfulness has remembered to live inside you. It has become your native tongue. Compassion, once something you had to pray for, stir up, or talk yourself into, now moves through you as naturally and constantly as blood moves through your veins. You no longer have to search for the hurting. Your spirit recognizes them the way a mother's body recognizes her child's cry in a crowded room. You will pass a stranger in the grocery store whose eyes carry a familiar shade of grief and feel a river of tenderness rise up in you so suddenly and so purely that you have to steady yourself against the shelf. You will hear a friend laugh too loudly to cover pain and feel the ache in your own chest before they ever say a word. Compassion has become your automatic posture, the way your soul now leans toward brokenness instead of away from it. It is no longer an emotion you manufacture. It is the very atmosphere you carry everywhere you go. Patience, that rarest and most costly of virtues, ceases to feel like a spiritual exercise in teeth-gritting endurance. It settles over your decisions like a soft, heavy quilt on a cold night, warm, comforting, and completely unforced. Where once every delay produced agitation, now there is a deep, unshakable stillness that says, "This too is being worked for my good." Where once unanswered prayer produced panic, now there is a gentle knowing that the architect of time is never late, never rushed, and never mistaken. You begin to move at the pace of grace instead of the pace of fear. You can wait in hospital corridors, in government offices, in the long silence after sending a vulnerable message without unraveling, because patience has moved in and made itself at home in the deepest parts of who you are. It is no longer something you practice, it is something you have become. Chosen one, this is the miracle of long obedience in the same direction. This is what happens when the seed of intentionality finally breaks open underground and becomes a tree whose roots have grown deep enough that its fruit appears without striving. The effort has not disappeared. It has simply been swallowed up by grace. The discipline has not been abandoned. It has been absorbed into delight. The old you who had to white-knuckle every right choice has quietly died. And a new you has risen, one for whom righteousness is no longer a burden to be carried, but a song to be sung, a dance to be danced, a love to be lived. You will still have to choose, yes. There will still be moments that demand fresh surrender. But even those moments will feel different now, less like climbing a mountain and more like stepping into a river that was already flowing in the right direction. The current of the Spirit has become stronger than the current of the flesh. The voice of the beloved has become louder than the voice of the accuser. The rhythm of heaven has become the soundtrack of your days. Breathe it in, chosen one. This is your new normal. This is the promised land of rest that warriors enter after the battles have been fought and the walls have come down. This is the garden the Father has been preparing for you all along, where gratitude grows wild, compassion flows freely, and patience shades every path. You no longer visit this place on good days. You live here now. You have come home to who you were always meant to be. And the best part, you are only just beginning to discover how deep, how wide, and how wondrous this new life in the Spirit truly is. Welcome home, beloved. Welcome to the rest of forever. Yes, problems will still knock on your door. This is still a fallen world, and rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. But the way you meet those problems has been completely transformed. What once felt like crushing weights now register as sacred invitations into deeper empathy. Every obstacle becomes a classroom where you learn to sit beside others in their pain instead of rushing past it. Every delay becomes a training ground for perseverance that is no longer fragile, but forged in fire. Every closed door sharpens your discernment until you can smell opportunity long before you see it, until you can sense the hidden doorway that only opens when the obvious one slams shut. Dead ends are revealed to be divine detours. Setbacks are reclassified as setups. Even the sharpest disappointment carries within it the seed of a greater comeback, because your eyes have been trained to look not at the seen but at the unseen, where God is always working everything together for your good. From this elevated place, every single interaction becomes charged with purpose. A casual conversation at the coffee shop can carry the weight of eternity. A text message sent at just the right moment can shift someone's entire trajectory. Your words are no longer mere sounds. They have become carriers of divine wisdom, seasoned with grace, dripping with life. Friends feel understood on a level they cannot explain. Colleagues find themselves suddenly brave enough to chase dreams they buried years ago. Strangers walk away lighter, as though someone finally saw the real them, hiding behind the mask. You are not preaching at people. You are radiating. You are not trying to fix anyone. You are simply being the living proof that chains break, that wounds heal, that resurrection is still happening today. And in the process, you become a walking invitation for others to step into their own journey of awakening. Freed from the suffocating timelines the world tried to strap onto your wrists. Finish school by this age, marry by that age, retire by the other age, you now move to the rhythm of a different drum. You chase only the assignments that make your spirit leap. You say yes only when your entire being lights up from the inside. You say no without guilt when something, no matter how shiny, tries to pull you off the ancient path marked out for you before you were born. And because you are finally walking in obedience to your soul's deepest callings, opportunities begin to chase you down. Doors you never knocked on swing open. People you never reached out to suddenly appear with the exact key you need. Collaborations ignite like wildfire, not because you forced them, but because alignment is magnetic. Projects that once felt like drudgery now feel like breathing. Connections that drained you fall away naturally, replaced by relationships that feel like coming home. You are no longer swimming upstream against the current of shoulds and supposed tos. You are moving with the current of the Spirit, and everything meant for you is being carried straight into your hands. As we stand together at what feels like the final chapter of this particular season of unveiling, take a slow, deep breath and look back for just a moment. See how far you have traveled. See the person who once felt hopelessly entangled in old struggles, old identities, old fears, and old limitations. That version of you is gone, dissolved in the fire of God's relentless love. In its place stands someone new, someone clothed in quiet strength, wrapped in unshakable peace, radiating a grace that can only come from having been carried when you had no strength left to walk. You did not claw your way into this freedom. You surrendered your way into it. You did not achieve this alignment. You received it moment by moment, choice by choice, yes by yes. Honor the sacred commitment you made to keep showing up, to keep choosing truth over comfort, to keep returning to the secret place even when it felt dry. Every single intentional day has been another brick in the fortress of your new reality. Every time you chose forgiveness over resentment, worship over worry, faith over fear, you are anchoring God's truth deeper into the bedrock of your being. What once felt fragile is now immovable. What once flickered is now a steady flame. Your energy is no longer scattered. It is focused. Your purpose is no longer vague. It is vivid. Your alignment is no longer a hope. It is a lifestyle. This new reality is no longer a distant shoreline you are straining to reach. It is the ground beneath your feet right now, solid, vibrant, alive with possibility. You do not have to wonder if you belong here. You were born here. You do not have to prove you are worthy. Jesus already declared you worthy with his last breath. You do not have to force the next season. It is already unfolding in perfect rhythm with the heartbeat of heaven. So stride forward, chosen one, with the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly whose you are. Walk with the steady assurance of someone who has seen the goodness of God in the land of the living and knows they will see it again and again. Every twist in the road is already known. Every turn has already been mapped by the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps. You are not walking alone. You are walking enveloped, empowered, and eternally loved. The adventure is just beginning, and it is more breathtaking than you ever dared to dream. Keep walking. The best is not behind you. The best is woven into every step you are taking right now. There is no true conclusion to this sacred journey, for God's resounding declaration that your case is closed signifies not a final endpoint, but the dawn of an extraordinary new beginning, vibrant with divine potential. The doors before you swing wide open, revealing pathways to opportunities far richer than you could have ever imagined. Insights that plunge deeper than any understanding you've previously known, and a purpose so alive, it pulses with the very heartbeat of divine life, guiding you toward a destiny uniquely crafted by the Creator. You are no longer the person who embarked on this path, burdened by past struggles or uncertainties. You have been profoundly transformed, reshaped by grace and faith into someone new, stepping boldly into a season intricately aligned with God's eternal plan. As you settle into this lifelong commitment to spiritual growth, embrace the understanding that your journey is not a straight line, but a vibrant tapestry woven with distinct seasons, each with its own unique flavor and purpose. Some seasons will feel like expansive bursts of light, where synchronicities flow effortlessly and inspiration sparks with every step. In these moments, your heart feels alive, as if the universe itself is conspiring to guide you toward divine alignment. Rejoice in these times of abundance, for they are opportunities to plant seeds, whether for new projects, meaningful relationships, or personal aspirations that will sustain you when challenges arise. These seeds are not mere ideas. They are acts of faith investments in a future where your purpose unfolds with clarity and grace. Other seasons may feel like contraction, where lessons weigh heavy and progress seems to slow to a crawl. These are not periods of regression, but sacred pauses, moments designed for integration and reflection. They strengthen the foundation of your soul, much like the quiet winter prepares the earth for spring's renewal. In these times, lean deeply into faith, trusting that God's plan encompasses both the ebbs and the flows. Just as farmers honor the natural rhythms of planting and harvesting, respecting the cycles of growth and rest, you too must honor the rhythms of your spiritual journey to remain aligned with divine timing. This alignment requires patience and surrender, a willingness to trust that every season, whether radiant or challenging, serves a purpose in shaping you into the person God created you to be. Your perspective on life transforms as you embrace this journey, shifting from a narrow focus on immediate outcomes to a broader vision of experiences as intricate pieces of a divine mosaic. Each moment, whether joyful or painful, adds a unique color and texture to the masterpiece of your life. Adversities, once viewed as setbacks, become profound teachers, imparting lessons of empathy, perseverance, and discernment. These qualities forge resilience, enabling you to navigate life's uncertainties with adaptability and grace. You begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as invitations to grow deeper in wisdom and strength. This shift extends to your language, which carries the weight of your transformation. Where complaints once dominated, you now offer observations rooted in understanding. Judgments give way to compassion, and despair transforms into a quiet, unshakable hope. Your words, infused with divine wisdom, become a beacon for others, subtly encouraging them to seek their own paths of growth. This change in how you express yourself reflects an inner freedom, a release from the need to conform to external standards or societal expectations. Instead, you pursue endeavors that resonate with the deepest parts of your soul, drawing opportunities that align with your divine purpose like a magnet. These opportunities are not random. They are the fruit of your alignment with God's will, manifesting as doors open to paths you once thought impossible. Humility and interconnectedness are vital anchors on this journey. Seek out mentors, supportive communities, or wise voices, whether through books, teachings, or conversations that illuminate your path when shadows fall. These connections remind you that growth is not a solitary endeavor, but a shared pilgrimage where each person's insights contribute to the collective ascent. God delights in every step you take, no matter how small, and your progress resonates in the spiritual realms as a celebration of His love and creativity reflected in you. Each moment of courage, each choice to align with truth is a testament to the divine artistry at work within your life. Stay attuned to the inner signals of your spirit, sensing when a cycle is complete or when new challenges emerge. Chosen one, what you have been feeling lately? Those gentle tugs on your spirit, those sudden knowings that rise up without explanation. Those moments when a name, a place, or a decision flashes across your mind with unmistakable clarity are not random intuition, not fleeting gut feelings, and certainly not coincidence. These are divine nudges, holy breadcrumbs laid out by the hand of God Himself, guiding you with the precision of a master navigator and the tenderness of a loving Father. Every whisper, every check in your spirit, every unexplainable peace or urgency is heaven's GPS recalculating your route in real time, making sure you arrive exactly where you are meant to be, exactly when you are meant to be there. You are not wandering. You are being led. You are not guessing. You are being guided. Trust this process with your whole heart, because you have already been equipped far more thoroughly than you realize for every single moment that lies ahead. The strength you gained in the wilderness, the wisdom you mined from the darkest nights, the character that was forged in the furnace of affliction, the faith that grew muscles while you waited in silence, none of it was wasted. Every scar became a classroom. Every tear became a seed. You are now walking proof that what was meant to destroy you only qualified you. You carry within you a reservoir of grace that will sustain you when the road climbs steep, a well of living water that will never run dry, and a fire in your bones that hell itself cannot extinguish. Behind the veil, your spirit team, those ministering spirits sent forth to serve the heirs of salvation, stands at full attention. They are not bored observers. They are excited participants. They lean forward in anticipation because they can already see the discoveries waiting just around the bend. They know the lives that will be touched simply because you kept walking when quitting would have been easier. They know the ripple effect of every quiet act of obedience, every prayer whispered in secret, every time you chose kindness when you had every right to be bitter. Your story is not contained within the borders of your own skin. It spills over. It inspires strangers you will never meet to pick up their own crosses and keep going. It gives permission to the weary to believe again. It builds a legacy of hope that will outlive you by generations, a living memorial that shouts to the ages God is faithful, and He finishes what He starts. This journey you are on is quietly rewriting your entire relationship with time itself. Days are no longer empty boxes to be checked off or endured. They have become sacred portals, holy opportunities to polish the diamond of your soul, to deepen the roots of compassion, to sharpen the blade of discernment, and to draw ever closer to the divine essence that has always burned at the center of who you are. Every sunrise is an invitation to embody more of heaven on earth. Every breath is a chance to align your heartbeat with the heartbeat of God. The mundane is being transformed into the miraculous right before your eyes. A conversation in the grocery line becomes divine appointment. A flat tire becomes holy. Interruption, a moment of waiting, becomes a sanctuary of worship. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is ordinary anymore. You are learning to live wide awake inside each moment, to taste eternity in the now, to walk so consciously in the spirit that even your shadow carries healing. Look ahead. Chosen one, not with anxiety or frantic grasping, but with soft eyes that trust and a steady heart that rests. Wherever the road curves, wherever it climbs or descends, you are wrapped in a grace that will never leave nor forsake you. Every triumph is a stone of remembrance. Every trial is a refining fire. Every closed door is mercy in disguise. Every open door is an invitation into greater glory. This is not a sprint to some distant finish line where you finally arrive and everything becomes easy. This is a lifelong dance of becoming a sacred unfolding where each step strips away another layer of the false self and reveals more of the true self hidden in Christ. The beauty is not in reaching a destination. The beauty is in the revealing, in the slow, breathtaking unveiling of who you have always been in the eyes of the one who called you beloved before the foundation of the world. And here is the paradox that makes angels sing and demons tremble the moment heaven declares that your old case is closed, every accusation answered, every verdict overturned, every chain broken. That is not an ending. That is the most explosive beginning imaginable. The doors now swinging wide before you are not ordinary doors. They are ancient doors, psalmist doors, doors that the King of Glory Himself is walking through with you. Behind them wait opportunities richer than your imagination has dared to dream, relationships deeper than you thought possible. Revelations that will make your heart burst with wonder and a purpose, so alive, so electric, that it pulses through your veins like liquid fire. You are not the same person who started this journey. You have been stripped, rebuilt, renamed, and released. You are stepping into a season so intricately woven by the Master Weaver that every thread gleams with divine intention. Hold these truths close to your chest like a treasure map that never fades. Return to them on the days when the road feels long and the sky feels silent. Let them be the anchor when waves rise and the North Star when night falls. Your spirit team is not just watching, they are celebrating. They throw their heads back in joy every time you choose faith over fear. Every time you take one more step when your legs feel like giving out. And the God who neither slumbers nor sleeps walks with you, before you, behind you, and inside you, guiding each moment with a love so fierce it silences hell and so tender it catches every tear. Thank you for stepping into this sacred space with an open heart. Your presence here is not accidental. Your hunger, your surrender, your willingness to keep showing up. These are the very things that make room for heaven to move. If the Spirit leads you, consider partnering with this ministry so that rivers of living water can keep flowing to the thirsty, so that more chosen ones can hear the sound of their true name being called. Like this message as an act of agreement with heaven. Comment whatever the Spirit places on your heart. A simple "I receive" is more powerful than you know. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next wave of revelation. Share this with at least one person who needs to be reminded that their story is far from over. May the favor of the Lord rest upon you like morning dew. May His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He turn His countenance toward you and grant you peace that the world can never give. May every step you take from this moment forward be ordered by the Lord, illuminated by His glory, and covered by His unstoppable love. You are seen. You are known. You are endlessly, fiercely, eternally loved. Walk in that truth, chosen one. The best part of your story has only just begun. Be abundantly blessed.